Postecoglou says Brighton defeat is his worst game since he joined Spurs. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Before we dive into this update, be sure to press that subscribe button and keep up with all the latest news. Tottenham appeared to be cruising towards a sixth consecutive win this afternoon at the Amex Stadium, before throwing it all away in the second half. Speaking to the press after the game, Ange Postecoglou lambasted his team for getting complacent. Ange Postecoglou has seen his team demolish both Brentford and Manchester United recently in the Premier League, as well as securing key wins in the Carabao Cup and Europa League. And by half-time today against Brighton, his team were firmly in control and leading 2-0 thanks to goals from Brennan Johnson and James Maddison. But in the second 45, Tottenham were crushed by Brighton's fast-paced attack, and within 20 minutes of the restart, the game had turned on its head. Goals from Yankuba Minte, Jorginho Rutter and Danny Welbeck earned the Seagulls all 3 points on a disappointing evening for Spurs. Postecoglou was visibly annoyed and perplexed as the comeback unfolded in the second half. And speaking to Sky Sports after the game, the Spurs boss explained why this was the worst defeat he has experienced since taking over at the club. He said, "Disappointing, frustrated and absolutely gutted with that. Worst defeat since I've been here. Unacceptable second half. Nowhere near where we should be. We got carried away with how well we're going. We kind of accepted our fate, and it is hard to understand as we've not done that while I've been here. We paid the price. The problem is, we are travelling along too smoothly. Football and life will trip you up if you get too far ahead of yourself." He told the BBC, "Fair to say that the second half was unacceptable, and we paid a price for that. We probably should have put it to bed in the first half. What we did in that second half is unacceptable, and we got what we deserved. Maybe we just thought we'd roll out there and play well again, and that's not how it works, and we paid for it. We've conceded before, but it is how you react, and our reaction wasn't what it should be. It's a bad day for us, and when it's a bad day, the responsibility falls at my feet. I have to say that is one of the worst defensive performances I've seen from the Spurs backline. Destiny Udogie has to be blamed for at least 2 of the goals, while the normally dependable Mickey van der Ven looked really off it today. Cristian Romero and Pedro Porro didn't exactly shower themselves in glory either, with the pair really struggling to deal with Kaoru Mitoma. I could not believe what I was watching as Tottenham completely threw away that win there. We were absolutely dominant in the first half and should have come out with that same intensity after the break. But we were never in it at all as soon as that first goal went in. James Maddison believes Tottenham lack the mental fortitude to compete with the best teams. Spurs went into Sunday's trip to Brighton off the back of an excellent run of 5 straight wins across all competitions, which included a 3-0 victory at Old Trafford. Tottenham then cruised into a 2-0 lead at the Amex Stadium on Sunday thanks to goals from Brennan Johnson and Maddison. But that was followed by a remarkable capitulation, with Spurs conceding 3 goals in 21 second-half minutes to lose 3-2. Former Tottenham striker Dimitar Berbatov accused the Lilywhites of being too nice after the match, lacking the mental strength to deal with setbacks. Maddison seems to agree with Berbatov's assessment, stating that Spurs cannot stay strong under pressure, unlike the best teams. "We couldn't deal with the mental shift and lost complete control of the game after the first goal went in. We dealt with the momentum very poorly. It just felt like attack after attack and we couldn't deal with it," Maddison told Sky Sports after full time. "It could have been definitely. Brighton are a good side, but when the first goal went in, you have to deal with adversity in the Premier League and stay strong, weather the storm. The best teams stay strong. We didn't do that. We'll need to take big lessons from the second half if we want to make strides forward. Spurs will now break off for the October internationals before returning for a home tie against London rivals West Ham United on the 19th. Tottenham are thinking ahead to the future and could be lining up a cheeky deal for one of the Premier League's most sought-after stars next summer by trying to undercut his current release clause. Eze's price is set, but Spurs want to pay less. It was well documented in the summer that Spurs were keen on signing Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace, but that move never came to fruition. The reason for that is unknown, though Tottenham's expenditure on the Dominic Solanke deal was most likely a factor in limiting their transfer business. Still, the club is thought to remain interested in Eze, and though they missed the deadline for his £68 million release clause this year, that same price tag will be active again next summer for the Palace midfielder. According to Football Insider though, Spurs will look to avoid that higher fee and capitalise on the fact that Eze's contract will be into its final 2 years by that point, and will try to negotiate a cheaper deal. The report claims the Lilywhites are hoping to get an offer accepted for somewhere in the region of £50 and £60 million instead. Eze is known to be keen to move on, and the slow start to the season for Palace, twinned with the player's contract situation, could open the door for a cut-price deal. Eze was undoubtedly one of Tottenham's top transfer targets in the summer, and it is even thought Spurs had a gentleman's agreement in place with the Palace star. However, according to Fabrizio Romano, the Lilywhites never actually made a formal offer to trigger his release clause. I think we have seen already the gap that could have been filled by Eze this season, with the injury to Son leaving us weak down the left-hand side and lacking a sense of adventurousness and creativity. If we can get him for £50 million next year, that would be more than fair and is the kind of deal we should jump at. Reports indicate that Tottenham may find it difficult to persuade one Barcelona player to join them in January. It has emerged that Spurs are looking to add more reinforcements to the wide areas ahead of the January window, with the club alleged to have set their sights on a former Premier League star. The player in question is Raphinha, with Fabrizio Romano stating on his YouTube channel last week that Tottenham have always been fans of the Brazilian. The journalist added that a few Premier League clubs could potentially look to bring the winger back to England in January. However, according to a report in Goal, Raphinha has no intention of leaving Barca for the time being. The report points out that the 27-year-old, who is contracted to the Catalan side until 2027, is expected to snub offers from the Premier League in favour of remaining at Camp Nou. This is because Raphinha has had a new lease of life under Hansi Flick, with the German coach seeing the attacker as one of his most important players. With Dejan Kulusevski being moved to a central role, Postecoglou is short of options on the right, with Brennan Johnson being the only natural right winger in the squad. Heung-min Son, Timo Werner and Wilson Odobert are all far more effective on the left, which is why the Spurs boss may want to address that position in January. That's all for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with all things Tottenham, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications on our latest content. Don't forget to like this video and share it with fellow Spurs supporters. Let's grow our Tottenham News Today community together. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on you Spurs.